Another exciting episode of the Extraordinary Man Podcast. You guys know who this is. And in case you don't know who this is, let me remind you. My name is Phil Jones or Mike Jones. Have you guys know me personally and professionally? And I am the host of the Extraordinary Man Podcast. And you guys know who this absolutely amazing figure of excellence is on the other side of me. Y'all know that he is like literally his face will pop up in the dictionary next to expertise, if that's even in the dictionary, because it's a word that's not big enough to be able to encompass everything that this gentleman is that's on the other side of me. When he say let's go, that means get off your behind and let's go. Matter of fact, I ain't even gonna say no more. You tell him what it is, man. State your
Man,
name.
it is Midas. Make sure you put a king in front of that. Let's go.
Whichever direction we going, baby. We all
Yes, sir.
all roads lead to success around here, cuz.
Man, say it again. Hold on.
That's the earliest I ever got a bomb.
You starting early, bro.
All right, so speaking of starting early, man, let's go ahead and get right into it. We are having a conversation about a little thing called happiness.
Yes, sir.
Now I know, it's not necessarily the most thugged out gangster topic on the planet, but sometimes you gotta lighten the mood up a little bit. You gotta talk about something
Mhm.
that people can appreciate. I know people can appreciate happiness. So why don't we go ahead and get right into it? Midas, you had a whole
All
little
right.
checklist that you wanted to talk about,
I
that you
do.
wanted to break down.
I do, and I put a lot of thought into it, and some of these may sound like that they roll into each other, but they're definitely different from one another. Okay, so I got 15 things on how to be happy. Okay, number one, let's make sure that our health is in check. Healthy is number one. Number two, we gotta live a long, purposeful life. Okay, number three, you also want your family to be healthy, because when you're worrying about sicknesses and and ailments and all this other stuff that's going on with your people, that can throw you off your square. So you want your family in good health. Okay, number four, and I know that we did a recent podcast on this, but a lot of people still would like to attach this to happiness. Okay, you want a great job or a career. Okay, number five doesn't necessarily have to come through a job or a career, but you want to have good income. Okay. Number six, you want to have a healthy marriage. Okay. Number seven, not only do you want to have a healthy marriage, but you want to make sure that you actually like your spouse. You're going to spend the rest of your life with this individual. You want to make sure that you really like this person. Okay. Number eight, you want to have children within the marriage. Okay. We're no longer doing the carry before marry. We're having children in the marriage. Number nine, you want to have good children. You want your children to be good. Okay. Number 10, you want to get along with those children. All right. Number 11, and this is kind of mainly more men, but you want to be respected. Okay. Men gravitate to where they're respected. Number 12 may sound like number 11, but it's totally different. You want to feel relevant. Okay. You want to feel like you win the game. You want to feel like appreciated. You want to feel recognized. You know what I'm saying? You want people to know who you are. Okay. Number 13, no stress zone. All stress is out the window, out the door. Boom. No stress. All right. Number 14, lack of jealousy. Okay. We're not looking at our neighbor. We're not looking at our relatives. We're not looking at a man that we just drove by. Lack of jealousy. Okay. You do you, you focus on you, and you continue down the path that you own so that you can achieve your success. We ain't jealous of nobody. Okay. That person did what they needed to do. It's your turn. All right. And number five, I'm sorry, number 15 is peace.
All right, so the first thing that me on the other side of the screen, first thing I want to know is what made you come up with this list? Like first off, what made you even think to detail happiness in the first place?
You know, based off a lot of the conversations that we're having, saying whether it be dealing with the finances that we've been talking about, trying to really get to the nitty gritty of things, trying to give perspective on financial intelligence for everybody, on top of talking about, you know what I'm saying, careers and jobs, and I hate my job, and it really got me thinking, like, what is it do we need that can really help us be happy? What is it that we really need that can put us in a happy state of mind? What can help us start moving towards the direction of happiness? That's what's going to help us live longer. A lot of these sicknesses and ailments that we have, it's been scientifically documented that just being in a happy state of mind can actually kill a lot of disease. Just thinking positively can cure a lot of things. And so I kind of, like I said, all the videos that we've done recently, it kind of really just had me start thinking, like, okay, what can I, bring to the table as far as getting people to start thinking about happiness the way that I think about it, the way that I see it, the way that I move, the way that I think, and the way that I live day to day. Like, this list, I didn't put this list together because I thought it sounded good or anything. I put this list together based off how I think and move.
So here's what I want to know. And I'm not smartest man in the world. Not the dumbest one, but I'm not the smartest. When you came up with this list of things, what place were you in? Like, what prompted this thought process?
I think what really prompted was, and I'll be honest, I went to I broke I went to Burger King because I was on the move. I was in a rush. I broke, went to Burger King, and just seeing the people move about within that establishment, it's almost zombie like. It's you can see, the sheer, like, lack of, motivation, the lack of wanting to get up and go, the lack of happiness. You could just see it written all over their face, and that was what kind of really prompted it. And then, of course, I go through the game tapes, so I don't just do these and then just let them sit in the universe. I actually go back and watch these. You think Michael Jordan didn't go watch his game tapes? You think LeBron don't go back and watch his game tapes? Man, he was open right there. You could have passed that ball to him. You look right at him. I do the same thing. I watch these. I go through my game tapes, and I've really started to really dig deep and put the pieces of the puzzle together. And I'm like, man, we have not spoke about happiness yet. And a lot of this stuff that we have been talking about has kind of been teeter-tottering on the lane of talking about it. I really want to just come out and start talking about it, do a whole entire segment on it. We talked about mental health. We talked about, being financially stable. We talked about how to, better prepare yourself within a relationship. Let's talk about the full blown how do we bring it home and be happy for real? And that's where that came from. And thanks to Burger King,
Have
it,
it
it
your
kind of
way.
really sparked this. But it's like, man, you can see it all over their face, man, and it really bothered me, and I get it, what I'm saying, you at where you at because of the choices that you made, but it's, I don't know, man, I don't know.
Here's my thoughts on that, right? Because I really don't think that many of us know how to qualify happiness. And what I mean by that is, we, as you mentioned, like the robot like situation, that we don't actually sit back and think to ourselves, like, what makes me happy? What brings me joy? And
Mhm.
then you think about it along the lines of people think of like most common times people interchange like goals and fulfillment with happiness.
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy
For
to
sure.
achieve a goal. I'm happy to knock down something off my list. But it's like, are you happy? You may be miserable the whole way. So I think that it's interesting that you even brought this concept up because as I'm sitting there thinking to myself, it's just like, what makes me happy? And as you know, I'm one of those people that is like, I like access, I like
Mm-hmm.
options. So if I sat back and I said, I know I got to be at work in a couple hours, but you know what? I ain't going. I'm gonna stay home today. Yeah, I might get in some trouble, but I still get paid if I decide not to go. Now, of course, because I'm a responsible human being, I'm definitely going to go and I'm going to perform at a high level. But having the option to not go because I don't feel like it and know that my financial security will not be compromised to do so, that makes sense. That's a value to know that if I didn't feel well, that I have sick leave that will compensate my day's work so that I
Mm-hmm.
can stay home and nurse myself back to good health or run to the emergency room or run to the urgent care if I needed to.
Yeah. Yeah. You have the
So
option available to do that.
so there's a level of happiness knowing that I can do certain things within certain parameters and not have to be concerned about whether or not calling off work is going to affect how I'll be able to pay my bills this month. You sit there and you look at it and say to yourself, like, man, you really prompted something just then to start making me think along the lines. Like, I don't necessarily think about happiness because I'm in go mode all the time. And one thing that is like most of the men that I talk to, men of duty, I should say, is that we are constantly focused on knocking down goals. We don't ever take time to really think about our fulfillment. You know what happens? Father's Day roll around. I had a whole mug sitting here that I got for Father's Day, and I didn't even know it was mine. Bag says Happy Father's Day, clear as day. At no point in time did I even stop to think that there was something in it for me because I'm just ripping and running. I'm going constantly.
And it's crazy that you say that because to keep it a whole buck, I didn't even know Father's Day was coming up because I'm focused on my goals. I'm focused on making sure that my family is healthy and happy. And a lot of times we just don't. We get so bogged down and locked on mission to complete the goal. This is the task. Must eliminate target. Period.
Right.
That we don't stop to breathe for a second. And when more of a reason why I created the list, um, because it did cause me to stop and take a second to think.
Do you think that maybe we don't know how to be happy?
Yeah.
Do you think that maybe as a society we have just foregoed every aspect of trying to find happiness for ourselves in exchange for some illusion of things that will bring us happiness?
Yes, because a lot of us, not all, gotta, for the not all police, a lot of us don't know what happiness is because we don't come from happiness environments. We don't come from happy environments. So everybody that, what I'm saying, that we come across, they got some type of issue, some type of problem, some type of situation, and all this and that going on. There's never ever anything positive spoken. There's never ever anything great news or anything. It's always negative. It's always some type of derogatory something insert here. We don't know what a happy healthy environment is. And then when we do get into a happy and healthy environment, it's foreign to us and we don't know how to treat it.
Hold on, drop a
It's
bomb for
weird.
yourself. Drop a bomb for yourself right now. Do another one. Do another one. Do it right now. Because you just explained the last conversation I had that wasn't with you. Is
Mm,
that I'm so busy looking for different ways to expand my career, make money, teaching myself AI and going into these other areas that I found myself to where I was at one of my lowest points recently. Not in general, but recently, just solely based off of the fact that I'm more focused on, oh, I got these credit cards to pay off. I'm more focused on my situation than the fact that it's like, you know what? I got a nice quiet house. I'll kick my legs up, turn on my TV, bills is paid, everything is good. Go and make me some food if I want to. Go ride and give me some Chipotle. I could Uber Eats the Chipotle my way. I could do anything I want right now. No issues. The world is my oyster at this very moment. And instead, I'm spending every waking moment pulling what's left of my hair out,
mhm.
focusing on things that are gonna take me time to do anyway, rather than cherishing the moments. Like, I don't know, maybe y'all don't know this or whatever, but some of the people who frequent the podcast, they tell me that it's like, yo, you look better rested. Your energy is better on the podcast as of late. And you don't necessarily think about it, but I've been getting a lot better sleep.
Mhm.
And I've been decreasing the guilt factor of going to sleep, actually going to go get a decent amount of rest, disconnecting, not answering the phone to make sure that my body is getting the recuperation time that it needs because I work off hours. So it's bad enough that you sleeping during the day, and then you're in Florida to where it can jump 20 degrees in a matter of hours. And then when that sun is beaming on the side of the house that you in, if you're not already in a deep sleep, you ain't going back to sleep because now the house is a different temperature.
Yeah.
So you have a finite amount of time just to get comfortable. And if you don't take advantage of it, then you're going to be robbing yourself on this end where you should be coming straight home, showering, resting, putting yourself down, getting up midway through the day, preparing yourself for the remainder of the day. You know, you're throwing yourself off because you feel like you got all this stuff to do. I got all this stuff to do. I got all this stuff to do. And realistically, it's like, do you have to do it? Do you have to do it? That's one of the things that I think that also tying into happiness. That's probably one of the biggest questions that you have to ask yourself is, what are you prioritizing? People like to say, I want to be successful. They like to say, I want to be happy. They like to say a lot of very cliched things, but they never quantify what those things are and how much of it. The quality, qualifying and quantifying a situation. Qualifying it is defining it by what it is. Quantifying, which means that you put a number behind it. How much of it, how long. If you're trying to achieve a 4-year degree, how long are you giving yourself to achieve that 4-year degree?
Mhm.
If you say I'm gonna go achieve a 4-year degree in 3 years, then you know you got extra work. So can you do that and balance a full-time career and everything else that comes along with that? You have
Yeah.
to be prepared to take on the load. But if that's your goal and that's how you qualify the degree of whatever you choose, and then you quantify it by the amount of time it's going to take you and the earning potential that you should reach based on the decision that you make.
And I think outside of the list as well, say having a why, and it's not, the why just isn't just for business. It's for life in general. What is your why? Why are you doing this? Why do you need to do this? Who's going to benefit from this? When you have an actual why, then everything else will start to fall in line, because everything that you're doing, you now have a purpose for, you know. And I'm not a big fan of hobbies, but if that's what's gonna make you happy, if crochet, if doing a podcast, Xbox, PS5, if you want to turn into a connoisseur of different scotches from around the world, if you want to learn about, being a professional and audio visual, whatever, insert hobby here, whatever. Find something that's gonna help you stay in that happy state of mind, so that you can function properly. You can do what you need to do out in the world. You can be productive. You can be useful. You can be helpful out in the world. You're going to feel a whole lot better about yourself, because you're able to perform at a high tier, for sure. And other people are going to recognize that and see that about you. So that why and a hobby, I think, will help for sure.
Giving yourself something to look forward to, pretty much, is in a nutshell, is what you're
Yeah.
saying. Is that
Mm-hmm.
with, like, for instance, remember before I was telling you that I was going to take the AI courses and stuff, which I sent you that information, by the way. I don't know if you got it.
I got it, and as soon as we done with this, I'm finna sign up, because I'm on that. I'm already using AI, but to get certified, I'm on that.
So the understanding that I got from it was more so along the lines of, as I started going through my process, started connecting dots, because I had a particular problem that I needed to solve. And that problem was that I feel like I should be doing more, and I'm not satisfied with the area that I'm in. Now, I do know that there's a long-term goal, but at the same token, I don't want to continue to make these small incremental changes. I want to feel a quantum leap for a change, to where it's like I jump into a completely different situation. Like when I jumped from baseline worker to supervisor, I made a $23,000 jump in one motion. It was a swift change.
Mm-hmm.
Now I want to make another $30,000 or $40,000 swift change. I want to do it again, and I want to do it again, and I want my life to be more of that, and not sitting around thinking to myself like, oh my God, what do I know how to do? It's like it exposed the fact that I did not have as many skills as I would like to believe that I had. So when you talk about happiness, one thing that makes me feel happy, as I stated, thinking about having options and having access.
Sorry.
It's all good. That's an extraordinary call for y'all. Extraordinary call. Thinking about things like what would actually make me happy, having my access to things and having the option to do. Well, let's face it. I like the idea of, if I wanted to pay my credit cards off in full, I could go do it. That if I was ready to go buy a house, that I can set a short-term goal to get that done, down payment 20%, in, out, gone. I like the option of having more than what I need. If I want to hop on a plane and say, hey, I'll see you this weekend, I'll see you this weekend.
Mm-hmm. That's that.
That's that.
That's
So
that.
sitting here looking at the different things that are available, as your life starts to shift, the things that you desire start to shift. The relationships that you find important start to shift. You start really thinking to yourself, like, I need to hone in and draw tighter to these relationships with these people who mean this much to me. So as you start to talk about it, it's like, man, I really need to get my own pen and pad and start really delving deeper into what makes me happy. Like, what would make me happy today? Ladies and gentlemen that's listened to this, I think we just stumbled into a milestone.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So, Mike,
Absolutely. Start taking advantage of things that you are doing. Like really start to pay attention to you. Like you might be fantastic at cooking ramen. You don't just open up the packet, throw it in the water, seasoning, and you're done. You might be the type that'll take the time, chop up some green onion, boil some eggs,
start
maybe
telling
cook
my
up
secrets.
maybe cook up a chicken breast, cube it up, you know what I'm saying? Garnish it. Start paying attention to that. That's an actual skill that you can turn into. Woo's Ramen House is getting thrown up all over the place. Why anybody can come to a Mike's Ramen, anybody can come to a Jones Ramen, anybody can come to a Kilandre Ramen. Insert your name here. You know what I'm saying? Like start utilizing your skills. Pay attention to what you're actually doing. A lot of people draw and don't even pay attention to the fact that they're fantastic at it.
I
A
mean,
lot of
just
people make beats and don't even pay attention that they're fantastic at it.
just honing in on the developmental factors of a skill set is just
Yeah.
one. I mean, that's one thing all its own. It's just actually taking the time out to say, let me start to draw more toward the thing that brings me joy, that brings me peace. Even if you're not doing it to make money, if it's just a stress relief, if it's something that is like I can do that, like some people, I think that a lot of people just have not asked themselves this question. And I think that this question is huge. I think it's monumental actually. How do you define happiness? What is it? When you like this, we're not talking about a textbook definition. It's just like what brings me happiness, peace, and joy might not bring you happiness, peace, and joy. So we have to start asking ourselves and tapping into our inner selves and learning how to harness those things that bring us those feelings and making sure that we know how to tap into them when necessary. Because there's a lot of miserable folk out here, a lot of people with a lot of money, a lot of fame, a lot of notoriety, a lot of things, and they are dead smack miserable.
Yep.
So man, give me a little bit more sauce on them ribs, son.
Man, like at the end of the day, man, I just want everybody, make sure that you replay this, go back through the list and make sure, you don't necessarily have to utilize my list. This is just to get you flowing, get you thinking, and get you motivated to start looking at things differently and looking at yourself differently, put you in a happier state of mind. What makes you go? What makes you you? And that's really all to it, man. And that's all I wanted to do today was just to try to get you thinking about yourself in a different light that's going to, better you as a person, that's going to make you want to be motivated to get out there and do. So utilize my list. Don't change my list. But what you can do is make your own and or take mine and add to it. But this is my list for me. And if you can use it, fantastic.
Hey, I'm gonna go ahead and throw this challenge out there just because I like being a little bit of a rebel rouser at times. I challenge anybody to make your list, post your list.
Hmm.
Tag us in your list. Extraordinary Men on Facebook, Extraordinary Men YouTube, whatever have you. I would like to see your list. I want to know,
Me too.
what do you think, not what do you think, but I would like to know how thoroughly you have thought about what brings you happiness and what brings you peace. So it's on y'all now. Extraordinary Men.
And I'm gonna give y'all a bomb because you deserve it.
Y'all
That's
want
a
a
happy
bomb.
bomb. That's a happy bomb.
Yeah, I remember they said that about it. Never mind. Anyway,
Oh,
guys, that is our time. Thank you for tuning in with us today because we're happy. Happy to bring y'all this podcast today.
mhm.
Anyway, I am Phil Jones, Mike Jones. Have you guys know me personally, professionally, and I am the host of the Extraordinary Man podcast. So you guys know who this insatiable young man is on the other side of me. If you don't
Oh,
know who he is, let me remind you. He is the person who put the etch inside the sketch He's the person. He's the person that made the toys have a story. He's the reason Pixar has a job. None of the above is true, but it could be because he's that great.
I don't think y'all understand, man. Like, I'm real close to my family. I don't think y'all understand like how like blessed I am to have this man as my brother. We politic almost on a daily basis, just having these random conversations, talking about anything. And we just bring it to the show, man, and hopefully y'all can relate to this stuff that we be giving our perspective on, man. But I couldn't ask for a better brother. You know what I'm saying? Marvin will pop in. He's on vacation right now, so hopefully we can get him back on the show. But Midas, make sure you put a king in front of that. Let's go.
Peace.
Peace.